Let's throw some jabs.
The fight starts now!
Well, Sergio, Jaime Munguia is back on Saturday, and when he steps in the ring, he will have one of the most accomplished opponents of his career in front of him. Sergiy Derevyanchenko is a two-time middleweight world title challenger who has lost razor-close decisions to Daniel Jacobs and Gennady Golovkin, and most recently took a majority decision defeat to Carlos Adames. Sergio, fans have been waiting for Jaime Munguia to step up. Is he doing that in this fight?
No. And, Sergiy Derevyanchenko is a very tough fighter. I mean, he's a technician. That's what they call him. He's given everyone that he fights competition. No one stops him. All the names you just mentioned, you could throw Charlo in there. They don't stop him because he knows how to fight. He knows how to fight small. He's a strong fighter. He has that amateur pedigree. But he's 37 years old, Mannix. He's lost 4 of his last 6. Munguia needs to step up to a quality, feared opponent. We know who those fighters are. They're unbeaten fighters at middleweight. Or if you are going to beat somebody that already has the loss of Triple G. But these are tough fights to make. So I get why he's fighting a Sergiy Derevyanchenko. On paper, Derevyanchenko is going to be a step up and the most dangerous opponent on his resume. But if you look deeper into those numbers, it's still the same old type of fighters that Munguia has been facing. World title challengers that haven't become champions. We're talking about the Turiano Johnsons of the world, the Spike O'Sullivans. That doesn't cut it, man. We want this kid, this man at 26 years old, undefeated, over 40 fights, to take that big step forward. But if those names aren't available, the Andrades, the Charlos, the Golovkins, then Sergiy Derevyanchenko will do.
Yeah, I'm going to say it is a step up, but it's not a big enough step up to matter. Some of the names you mentioned, Turiano Johnson, you can throw Jimmy Kelly into that mix. These guys are not threatening opponents. Derevyanchenko, at least, is a little bit interesting because he has fought extremely well at the highest of levels. You can make an argument that Derevyanchenko beat Daniel Jacobs a few years ago for the middleweight title. I scored the fight against Gennady Golovkin for Derevyanchenko. The Adames fight was a majority decision. So when he has faced top guys, he has done pretty well. My issue with Derevyanchenko going into this fight is that it's going to be contested at 168 pounds. When Derevyanchenko lost to Carlos Adames, my initial thought was that maybe he should drop down in weight. You look at him, Sergio, and he's a small-ish guy. Maybe he could have competed better at 154 pounds. Instead, he's going up in weight at a weight class that Munguia is going to be very comfortable with. And he's going up against an opponent that is very active. And if you watch Derevyanchenko's previous fights, he's a bit of a slow starter when he's in them. And if he gets off to a slow start against Jaime Munguia, I think he's going to be in a lot of trouble in this fight. So weirdly, the answer is yes, it is a step up, but it's not the kind of step up that everyone has been clamoring for. Those types of fights are Jermall Charlo, are Gennady Golovkin, top level guys at 160 or 168. Derevyanchenko is just not that.
So you're saying he's a step up. Yes, like I said myself, on paper, the name is a good name on your resume. Derevyanchenko's never been stopped. So if Munguia can be the first man to stop him, something that Triple G couldn't do, yes, it's going to be a good look on the resume of Munguia. And technically, the technician will be a step up. But, you can't fool the public, Mannix. You can't fool the people who know. You can't fool the fighters and the writers. We know what Sergiy Derevyanchenko is already, and at 37 years old, he's not going to be the same guy that he was a couple of years ago when he was giving these guys that you're talking about, like Jacobs, everything they can handle. It just doesn't work that way. I think Munguia should have not his hands full. He should have a difficult fight early, but then his size will be a factor, and he should take care of Derevyanchenko, maybe be the first to stop him.
One of my concerns, too, is that we're going to see Shane Mosley Jr. on the undercard. And Shane Mosley Jr. is a very good fighter. Like to see more of him on undercards in the next couple of years. But I kind of feel like, Sergio, we're getting set up for Mosley versus Munguia at some point if Mosley wins this fight. And again, that would be maybe something of a step up. But Jaime Munguia is ready for more. Jaime Munguia is ready for a matchup with Jermall Charlo at middleweight. He is ready for a matchup with David Benavidez at super middleweight. He is ready for Gennady Golovkin if Golovkin decides he wants to keep his career going. I feel like we're kind of getting put on a path where we're going to see Jaime Munguia go through 2023 without getting one of those significant fights. Do you kind of see that as well?
I mean, history doesn't lie. If you look at the last couple of years of Munguia's resume, Spike O'Sullivan, Turiano Johnson, these are tough guys. These are kind of gatekeepers, Rosado, but they're not champions. So yeah, we're headed in that path, Mannix, and I agree with you. Mosley is a good fight with him. It technically would mesh stylistically nice, but it's not the fight we need. So yes, we're getting led in the wrong direction. And Munguia at over 40 fights and 26 years old, former champion, undefeated. Yeah, it's time.
You know what the funny thing is? I would favor Jaime Munguia against a lot of guys at 160 or 168. If Jaime Munguia fought Jermall Charlo this week instead of Sergiy Derevyanchenko, I'd favor Jaime Munguia in that fight. If Jaime Munguia fought this version of Gennady Golovkin this week, I'd probably favor Jaime Munguia in this fight. I think he's made incredible strides as a fighter over the last few years. He's not a great defensive fighter and probably never will be, but under the tutelage of Eric Morales, he has become an excellent offensive fighter who puts together 5-6 punch combinations regularly. I think a lot of top guys would have problems with that. So, you know, we're not seeing Munguia in these fights, and it's doubly frustrating because, in my opinion, he would be a favorite in many of these fights.
I don't think he'll be a favorite against Charlo or Triple G, but I see him having success with Charlo. Charlo's inactivity and his spurts in fighting, and the fact that he's going to be the naturally smaller fighter. Yeah, but Triple G I still think has Munguia's number. Triple G, you can't beat experience. You can't beat the fact that Triple G's still a big puncher. Triple G's fought at super middleweight. That'll be a difficult fight. I think that's the biggest name that Munguia can get where everyone will have to give him respect. Even a 40-year-old Golovkin's still a dangerous monster. So Munguia needs to fight those type of fighters. Triple G makes all the sense in the world because it's a former champion, a monster, someone that still hasn't been stopped, and it's a legitimate fight, a 50-50 type fight at this point of Golovkin's career. That's the fight to make. I just don't understand why it's not makeable.
Just as long as he doesn't fight you next. As long as that's not the next fight.
Jake Paul's the only one I'm holding out for. That's it.